Isn't that the way? Everybody's got their dues in life to pay. Half my life's in books, written pages. Lived and learned from fools and from sages. You know it's true. All things come back to you. Sing with me, sing for the year, sing for the laughter, sing for the tears. Sing with me, it's just for the day. Maybe tomorrow the good Lord will take you away. Miami's got the Dolphins, the greatest football team. The ball from goal to goal like no one's ever seen. We're in the air, we're on the ground, we're always in control. Hey, when you say Miami, you're talking Super Bowl. 'Cause we're the Miami Dolphins, Miami Dolphins, Miami Dolphins number one. Miami Dolphins, Miami Dolphins, Miami Dolphins number one.
Can't hear you, bud.
Here we go. It's Steve Hallett. Welcome to the Steve Sammy and Connect. So we might
You need to turn the volume down just a little bit. I am rocking out of the club here right now.
Oh, nice. 70 should be good.
There it is.
I can hear
All right,
that.
Sammy, how you doing, buddy?
You know, we're partying over here.
Yeah, the beatings will continue until morale improves. That's the theme of the 2025 Miami Dolphins season.
Oh,
So,
boy.
just
boy.
keep the beats going, Sammy. I just got to wait until I see your montages. I'm sure you got something really good here to get my hopes up today. Maybe at least just put me in a little bit better mood.
Not really, but we're going to try.
All right,
Well, you
all
know,
I can ask.
It's this kind of week, but we're going to try it. So, on this episode of Fins TV, well, you know, the week it was, you know, the game was, you know, very disappointing. Didn't go as bad as the first week, but, you know, expectations still short of what you all expected from Tua coming into the season, and we're gonna talk about the game against the Patriots. Also on the show, we're gonna debate is the Dolphins show side of life or we had to put a stamp on the time of death for the Dolphins this week, and also we're gonna play some confidence meter with the Dolphins right now after the second yes. Our friends Shari Hallett from the Fins TV group and USA Today's Dolphins Wire USA Sarney is sitting right here. So we're gonna start with the game it was against the Patriots.
Fake it to Gibson, May moving, throwing, and it's caught for a touchdown. Drive for him. Andy Borregales for the extra point, off the upright and no good. May going for the corner of the end zone to Booty, diving attempt, and he's got it. Back out there again, and this one is no good. Tua to Achane, blockers ahead, flag is down, Achane still going. And Chason makes motion, and Tua swings it his way. Head of steam for Achane, and Achane still going. Name goes in motion. Tua finds Hill. He's got the first down, slips a tackle, and Tyreek Hill down the sideline and out of bounds. Gordon in the backfield, and Tua hands it off to Malik Washington, and Washington does a good job. The Patriots. Tua taking a shot for the end zone. Waddle is down there. Touchdown, Jalen Waddle. Hammy. Tua to the air. And he's going to take a deep shot. Tyreek Hill at the 45. Himself. Tua over the middle. Achane at the 20. Achane 10, 5. Achane spinning. Touchdown. On third down and long. Tua taking a deep shot. Throwing it down the field for Hill. And he makes the adjustment and the catch. And that one is good. Through here. 3rd and 7. May in trouble. And down he goes. 9. 2nd down and 10. Good protection. Tua looking for Waddle. And he holds. 3rd down and 5. Tua looking for Tyreek Hill. And a beautiful pass to Tyreek Hill. On 3rd down and 11. Tua pressure coming. Tua goes down. And Patterson is good again. Phillips coming again. May steps up, throws. He's got Stevenson. What a catch! Down the sideline. Stevenson cuts it back. And he's still going. Ramondre to the 20. The formation 81 in blue. May pressure coming by Judon. May steps up, looking to keep it. May, touchdown! 13-yard loss on that play. Gibson on the screen, and Gibson going nowhere. Herringer gets it away. Another good move, driving Washington back to his 27-yard line. He bobbles it for a second, still going as he spins forward, trying to get to the outside. Washington gets by the punter, down the sideline. Malik Washington to the house. Touchdown, Miami! To Gibson, who gets a running start on that catch. Gibson across the 30. Antonio Gibson still going. Can he return the favor? Down the sideline. You gotta be kidding me! Back to back! Back to the air. Pressure's coming to him. Able to locate Achane. Blockers ahead. Achane, another Miami first down. Tua deep over the middle. Too high. And Tua just gets the snap in time. Tua nowhere to go. Now throws. Picked off. Intercepted on the play by Mapu. Bryce Behringer, kick on the way, and it is good! From the 44-yard line, Tua in the shotgun, Hill in motion again. Tua locates Achane. Nice move by Achane. Hopping away from Mapu and still going. Achane, 10-5, touchdown! Achane!
Right there.
Clearly did.
Absolutely, the foot was in the white. There.
Winding down, Tua on 4th down, pressure coming, Tua in trouble, down he goes, Milton Williams!
For a while, for at least 2 times, I thought, oh, is the Miracle in Miami part 2? Because when the Dolphins put that kick return from Malik Washington, said, I think might win this game, and I said, wait. What? How much time is? Okay, this is the Dolphins. Let's see what happens. I could not even take a seat again, and the Patriots scored that touchdown on the kick return. Then Devon Asians find a way to win the end zone, and wait, there's no flags. There was a flag, but we missed this by this much. How much a difference does it make if the Dolphins find a way to win this game? We still have the same team we want to basically crush tonight because they deserve it, but they will be 1-1. So it's truly the game of inches, but hindsight is 20/20, I guess. So what are your thoughts on the Patriots game against the Dolphins on Sunday, Steve?
For a little while there, you forget about the rest of the atrocious things about this season, and you think, wow, they have a chance here. Look, the reality is we want to see this team win. We want to cheer for a team. We don't want to sit there and scream and piss and moan for 60 minutes of them being on the field, being like, hey, which is really 3.5 to 4 hours of misery of, hey, how bad is this experience? It's fun. And it's frustrating because we're sitting here seeing what could be, and then they just fall all over themselves in all phases of the field. They are finding ways to fail that almost seem like it can't be accidental. I mean, the stepping out of bounds, look, that is what it is. Malik Washington, absolute freak. I said it when he first picked him up last year, and then he went on the IR for the whole season, and that he reminded me of Jarvis Landry with speed. He has that fire. He has that the lack of fear of just going in there, putting his head down, and barreling into people that are 2 times the size of him. There's some sparks in the team here, but you just knew what was going to happen there at the end. Didn't surprise me. The interception, the sack, everything else. I didn't care. Somebody had said, hell, my God, we don't want H.N. to score right there anyway because we're giving him too much time. I say let him score right there, and if then our defense fails, hey, at least we had just a couple more minutes of hope. But it wasn't meant to be.
Absolutely. So without further ado, let's welcome the Fins TV crew, Shari Hallett and Jason Sarney. Good evening, guys.
Good evening.
Hey, everybody.
Jason,
How we doing?
We're doing good. I want to start with Shari. Shari, it was at least an entertaining game for sure. The game was not even boring, and that's not mistaken. But the Dolphins had a couple of chances to pull a miracle, if you might say, but it didn't happen. What are your thoughts on the Dolphins loss to the Patriots on Sunday?
No, it didn't happen. And you mentioned that it's a game of inches. It's also a game of seconds. And we seem to waste a lot of those trying to get into our huddle and trying to call plays and trying to get to the line and trying to finish our motion and trying to get the snap off before the play clock expires. And even if you look at, yes, we were in it. It was much better than the week before. Great. It was fun. The mistakes we're making are the mistakes that they make playing backyard football. And I'm tired of seeing it week in and week out. And we keep having the same discussion week in and week out. And so I don't know what they're going to listen to McDaniel say, well, we need to manage the clock. We're going to have to talk about our communication. No kidding. No shit, coach. This has been going on for more. This isn't a new thing for us. It isn't all the pieces were together. We were locked in and then we didn't get to the line in time once. This is a chronic fatal problem, because if no matter what you're doing, if you cannot get your plays in on time, if you cannot avoid procedure calls on offense that are just, I'm not talking about even like a hold. Okay, if you're trying to stop Tua from getting killed, I can deal with that. I can live with that. I can't deal with holding my breath every time saying, oh my God, they're not even in the huddle yet. And there's 12 seconds. They haven't broken the huddle and there's 8 seconds. And they talk about our eye candy and how we move everything around and we have so much motion. There's no time for any of that. There's no time to read a defense. There's no time to check down. There's no time to change a play. I'm so freaking tired of seeing Groundhog Day every Sunday, Monday, Thursday. The Dolphins play. It is freaking Groundhog Day. The same problems, and I'm just seriously. I was a McDaniel fan. I don't have an issue with Tua as a person. I am tired of seeing it. Jason?
Oh, I'm very tired of seeing it, and I'm tired of seeing the Dolphins take 1 step forward, 2 steps back. You can't keep on doing that. And this was a fun game to watch, absolutely. There were some very huge annoyances that kept plaguing the Dolphins, like not being able to stop a mobile quarterback, both with his arm and legs, not being able to defend, running backs out of the backfield. Ramondre Stevenson is looking like Marshall Faulk, 5 for 5 on his receptions. I think there was a good 12 seconds that I thought that they were going to win the game. And that was in between the Malik Washington punt return and then the subsequent Antonio Gibson return. And to have that happen to you, horrible. And to go back to that Achane play that would have been a touchdown if he didn't step out of bounds. You can't blame Achane for that. But who you can blame after that is 2 penalties immediately when he literally had, between the review and stoppage, they had ample time
Inexcusable.
to put something together, and then Aaron Brewer on a full start, and then a delay of game penalty. Like, I'm not a guy that likes to say, all right, we're going to script the first 5 plays. But in this situation, when you have a free amount of time, it's not a timeout, but it's gifted time. All right, guys, here's what we're going to do. First play out of the huddle, Achane, good job, didn't get in, but this is what we're going to do. If we do that, we're going to do this. If we can't do that, we're going to do this. No. And then you have situations where Tua is, I mean, look, his interceptions, even the one that he threw in the beginning of the game that was called back via penalty, it was not even in the vicinity of a Miami Dolphins player. And the second to last possession, same idea. He threw it right to blue, not to white, not to any orange and aqua around them, red, white, and blue. And Tua had a lot of easy throws, which padded his stats. And I'm a stat guy. I love my stats, but I use the stats to mix with the optics of what you see. Stats tell a portion of the story. It ain't the whole book. Devon Achane was the novel for Tua, save 2 or 3 throws. If it wasn't for Achane getting those checkdowns and him being able to turn that touchdown that he did score, what a play by him. Nice little throw to deliver it by Tua. And then I think the only 3 throws of note the entire game was the Tyreek Hill throw, which could have been a little further and maybe even ended up as a touchdown, but it was a good throw, fine. The Waddle touchdown was nice, and he hit Waddle on the sideline for a nice play in the second half. But other than that, Tua to me does not look like 2003 Tua in the least. And I think that once, I might be going a little off of the topic here, but once he got paid his money, I think that there was a change in him personally.
Yep.
We're seeing
100%.
that. We're seeing that.
That's unfortunate.
It's a horribly unfortunate thing, but it's a mistake made by management to have not looked at the overall equation and say, you know what, Tua, we're going to pick up your 5th-year option, and you tell us why we should sign you for more. Because this is his 6th season, and he's had one outlier of a phenomenal year. He didn't have like a couple of good years, healthy years, and then an amazing year. Injured, great year, injured now. So what are we doing here, folks? And the Ollie Gordon, one more thing. And the Ollie Gordon thing. You need to play this man a little bit more. Because the 3 times he's touched the ball so far, he's not gone down on first contact. He's made something in addition to what he was given the ball to gain yardage after contact, after the touch. But there's no plan. And the stat that the Dolphins lead or have such a good yard per carry average, but are last in the league of attempts, that tells you all you need to know. You got to run the ball more, and you need the personnel to do it, and they just decide not to do it.
The personnel decisions in general, Jason, have just been frustrating. Whoever wants to go out and waste money on another banner behind a plane for the next home game, just have it say, play Ollie and Willie. Seriously, no idea. There's no reason in the world with how poorly the offense and defense are playing on with any level of consistency. They're playing consistently poorly is what they're doing, that they are not giving more opportunities to people to say, hey, what we are doing is not working. So we're going to put Willie Gay Jr. in there. And what does the guy do? He's played three snaps, and he's been in on the tackle 3 times. Maybe it's a fluke, but I don't know. And Ollie, why not? I just don't understand it. There's no sense in saying, hey, we've got a young guy who can run, who's proven that he's got the ability to, at the collegiate level and in preseason, give him a shot. Find out what's there. Nothing is making sense right now.
I agree.
Absolutely. Jason, I want to touch a little bit more while I'll do something here where our guest is in the lobby. So to get to the lobby. Do you think basically the Tua looks different? There's something I cannot get. The press conference, I'm not calling him entitled, but there's something to Tua. What's your sense about that?
You're absolutely right. A couple of question answers irked me. Going back to week one, Omar Kelly made a great question, putting him on the spot, asking him about turnovers and bunches, and he answered like, "Well, that's wild." No, it's not wild. You threw two interceptions right away. You fumbled the ball. I mean, it's you got to take full accountability as the quarterback. You are the CEO. You're the president of the team. If the team is in trouble, if the offense is in trouble, say it's on you. We used to have a guy who, for my money, was the greatest human in the world to throw a football, and he would take the blame himself. I've said it, and I'll say it over and over again. If Dan Marino is able to look at himself in the mirror and to press conferences and to reporters and say, yeah, I could have put a better ball, he put it right here, maybe a receiver dropped it, he'll still take the blame and give credit where it's due. And Tua, to me, he's not doing that. And it seems that there's been a little bit of, I became a professional football player to get my money, and they showed me the money, and he's showing us his true colors.
100%.
Steven, elaborate a little bit more while I'll do something here. Tua in the press conference, for some reason, looked like he's kind of pissed with. Basically, I'm not going to offend Omar Kelly, but that was a fair question when he told him that the turn was coming in bunches. I don't think that was all that. I don't think there's wrong with that.
There's nothing nobody has ever asked Tua Tagovailoa an offensive question that was not warranted. I love the fact that the fans booed after that first drive. I wish we had seen a lot more of it. And I love that in the press conference they asked, "Hey, Tua, what do you think of this?" I don't even know if he heard it, but then his answer after that, Jason, you hit the nail on it. It's like a level of arrogance. Rich Eisen would talk about salty Tua. We love salty Tua. I never liked salty Tua because it seemed manufactured. It seemed inauthentic because Tua's, just the happy-go-lucky guy who, just wants to give hugs to everybody and then, shows up but then doesn't. But the arrogance right now is just really rubbing me the wrong way. And his answer in the press conference is, I really don't pay attention to the noise. I go home, slap Disney Plus on, put some Lilo and Stitch, and cuddle with the kids. You guys, if this is your life, too bad, go touch grass. Seriously, that's your answer? Dude, we as fans, look, he's not beholden to us. He's got a family. We know that. But if anybody had his back, it's the organization. It's the fans who said, hey, we still want you to be here. We still want to support you. You know what the most resounding answer to all this is? It's the fact that when Josh Allen last week had sold 1,700 jerseys of their new rivalry, and Tua had sold 36. There's your indictment. That's the answer to what everybody, the fans, think about your arrogance and what you think about whether or not you're hearing the noise.
Absolutely. Our guest is in the lobby, so let's go to the next set.
Let's do it.
Life is like this one-way street. You can't go back. Once you've started this damn journey, you can only go forward. So, you got two choices. One, you get scared, you give up, and then you burn up. And the second one, you say, "Get fear!" And you barrel through it.
Well, Steve, that was basically brutal. I know to start things, it's the first time, I think since 2020 or something like that. It's been a while since the Dolphins and being 2-0. A complete disappointment. But our guest is in the lobby. I know he's been waiting for a couple of minutes. I don't want to make it. I didn't have goosies with Tobin in the lobby. So let's go to our special guest.
Let's do it.
Well, we got Goosey, Brendan Tobin from WQAM 104.3 and Game Day Uncensored. Tobin, can you hear me? How you doing?
I'm good, guys. Thanks for having me.
Thanks for being here.
I've been at my house. We love you, Tobin, because Goosies. You're a huge Miami Heat fan, but the Heat and the Dolphins are not the best times. But we are here to talk Dolphins. So what are your thoughts? It was unexpected. Even to us who were cautious of our expectations, I don't think that this fans base has been as rattled, as disappointed as in recent days and recent week. What are your thoughts on the current state of the Dolphins, Tobin?
It's pretty sad right now. I think it's at the point, where everybody is just run out of patience. Especially, I think what you're seeing right now is the people who really did want to be optimistic, and everybody who maybe like wasn't trying to hear the doubts and really was trying to buck against and hope that there was going to be some light at the end of the tunnel. Every time that you get your hopes up, it just feels like this team slaps you in the face and disappoints you in just the worst way possible. And so I just think you're seeing a lot of that stuff boil over, especially with all the noise that felt nationally like everybody believed that this was going to be a disaster of a season. I still even think like locally, people were hopeful. They were wanted to buy into what they were selling, that they were going to be an organization of more accountability, that this team was going to be more together, new captains, new culture, whatever. And, you come out and you lay a dud like they did. And then, you flail and you are a disappointment against a division rival in week 2 on a crowd that seemed really, really tense. And so I just think that you're basically seeing a lot of fans just let go of the rope right now. And it's understandable. I think that there's probably been a bunch that have tried to hold on, and whatever hope is left is really, really dried up right now.
Absolutely. I agree with you. Basically the media and the national media had expectation of the Dolphins being, I don't know, the 32nd team right now in power rankings, but we have some kind of hope to say, well, we'll show them. I don't think they're as bad as they think they are, but a lot of blame going around, a lot of blaming game. Tua McDaniels has been at us basically on press conference this week. If you had to pinpoint which one of the two you think the responsibility lies right now, the play of Tua, or basically what Mike McDaniel is doing right now with coaching?
I don't want to cop out and say it's split up. I'm going to go more McDaniel. I think that, from my standpoint, I just think that he seems like a guy who's lost right now. I think this is a guy who's really lost his fastball. I think that, he felt last year the league trying to figure him out, and, went very conservative for a guy that was very flashy, flamboyant, would go at 4th down at ridiculous times. He's slowly morphing into every conservative chameleon of like Wannstedt, Sparano, Philbin that we've had in the past, of just, uninteresting, uninspiring offense. And I've also, I think just it has been a top-down thing. And I think that being the leader of an organization, it just feels like it's been a little bit overwhelming for the guy. And I think he's tried some cool stuff. I think that it had its moments, but I do think that it's been shown that, like, hey, once this thing goes bad, it feels like it's kind of dried up. Tua probably played the worst game I've ever seen him play in week 1. I thought he was better in week 2, but the ones and the misses that were misses were bad and they stood out. And since I think I mentioned about the fans. Like, I was a guy, like, I was happy for Tua to get paid and the team to give him his extension. I know that there were plenty of fans who were apprehensive about that. They look loud, right? Because, the worst nightmare has really happened. And that is that, his durability issues came to head last year. And this year, I don't really know what to make of this. Because part of me does feel like this is the physical body of him, maybe it all kind of taken a toll, and he was already a guy with, physical limitations. And I'm wondering if, like, hey, this is hitting a crescendo a little bit with all of the things tallying up, the head injuries, the hip injuries, all the hits, all the lickings that he's taken. But his performance, it hasn't been good enough, but I'm putting more of the blame on the coach.
Steve, you have a question for Tony?
Yeah, I try not to listen to the national media too much. I don't need them to spoon feed me ideas of what I should think about something or whether or not I should look into it. But the players only meeting, having that type of thing, and then you hear today, I think it was Albert Breer came out and said, hey, this is what was actually done at that meeting. They're veterans here. These are guys, men who have played football since they were kids. They've been around this before. The coaches have been around this before. What's the chance that anybody in that locker room isn't already just realizing this ship is sinking? The ship is going down. The wheels are off.
I think from my standpoint, when I heard that, I didn't think that was too big of a deal. And I'll tell you why I don't think that's that big a deal. I think because this is a team that is full of a lot of young guys that they are playing. And I think that has to be a thing because they are probably going to hear a lot of noise and they are going to get questions. But the Patrick Pauls, the Savalian Nyes, the Kenneth Grants, all these guys that they're going to be relying upon, I think it does need to get the message across like, hey, you guys are still, your future is going to be judged on this season no matter what. So I didn't find that to be too concerning. I understand why the Dolphins felt like the idea that they just had to have a player meeting is just concerning, just because they felt like, hey, we need to rally the troops after such a gut punch loss in week 1. That's the bigger issue to me. The idea that, that they're just letting these guys know, like, hey, keep up your professionalism because everyone's watching. I do think there's a lot of young guys that need to understand this isn't normal. And I think that's probably where I go with it more so than anything. I'm not trying to sugarcoat it. Like, look, what they're going through right now is bad, but I think we know if the guys who are going to check out, I think we know who they are, and that, for the other guys that are going to be around here still trying to prove something, I think that's probably what more of that is for.
Yeah, I mean, oh no, real quick, just to follow up on that, it's not that I think it's more of like the confirmation. Because you get Bradley Chubb's statement last week. You've got a captain saying, we've got guys out here freelancing. You've got an offense that it just is not clicking. Things aren't working. Injuries, Miami, injuries happen. To your point that the young guys, their futures will be based off of, or judged greatly off of how they do this year. In a way, I think I agree with you. But just as much as when 2019, how many of the players on that team were really truly judged by what they did? Flores they were driving into the ground. I'm not going to dispute with you here. I appreciate your point on that, and I do agree with you. I try not to look too much into it. It's just crazy that they had to do it so early because of the culture that they
Yeah, ironically, if you look at this team too, like, one guy didn't want to stick around. He wanted to get the hell out of here, and now he's back here, and Minkah Fitzpatrick. So that's probably a weird full circle moment for him. He's probably thinking I'm in some kind of weird football hell here right now. Yeah. So, but I get you. No, I'm not saying it's not a bad thing. I'm just saying from the message, I'm like, well, I'm hearing the guys talk about how many young guys that they got to lead along, especially, I think about like Zach Sealer and, he goes from having Hall of Famers and Pro Bowlers next to him to now he's the guy, he's the guardian to try and bring these guys along. And you have the expectations of living up to your contract. And look, it is what it is. Like, now everybody's going to be looking at you and being like, hey, dude, like, where's the tackles for losses? Where are the sacks? Where's the run stoppage? This is the most embarrassing defensive performance we've seen through 2 games in a long time. And you're the highest paid guy.
That's it. Jason? Oh. Jason, you there?
Yeah, no, Tobin, great joining us. Thank you for giving us your insight. Appreciate you. But yeah, I mean, there's a lot of problems here, and the meeting bothered me, the players only meeting for sure. The fact that it was after week 1. But to me, it's the lack of fixing the problems from McDaniel's end. It's the continued mismanagement of the clock. It's the continued odd personnel decisions. You're going to bring in back a guy like a Jeff Wilson, who he has familiarity with. You activate him, and you don't give him the ball. You need to establish somewhat of an inner power running game. You don't give Ollie Gordon any opportunity. You don't activate a guy like a Hayden Rootke when you actually have a horrible hole at tight end. And this is a guy who could block. He could help give you a little bit of a power presence. So to me, it starts way up top. We could touch on that a little later. But the personnel that Grier has given to McDaniel to operate, to me, has been a double failure. And you could look at a little bit of the positives, but it's rinse and repeat. It's the same mistakes without learning from them. And if you do the same thing over and over and over again,
insanity,
expecting different results, there you go, Shari. And that's where we're all at right now.
No, listen, there's no doubt. I mean, like Chris Greer, it's incredible. Like what continues to be the insanity that he is with his moves because he just pisses in the wind when it comes to injury concerns on players. And I don't understand it. It's like you continue to get burned by this left and right. And I think we all like felt it immediately as the offseason. Like we knew this wasn't going to be a big offseason as far as like signings are concerned, because I do think Stephen Ross was like, screw you guys. I paid everybody. It blew up in my face last year. Sink or swim, dude. Figure it out. And so going and signing a guy off a torn Achilles is like, it's like Toys R Us for Chris Greer. He's like, great. I get to go and get the guys that have huge injuries and upside. Like, great. But we all knew like that's not going to work out. And as this thing was chipping away, like, oh, they can't work out the Jalen Ramsey thing because he hates Mike McDaniel all of a sudden. What are we replacing that with? And it's almost like they're getting what they deserve in some regards. It sucks to say that because, sometimes you can find gems, like you can find these things, but this is all just coming to a head. The cornerbacks, they're all getting hurt. The Tua's blind side, it's all hurt. The tight end, our idea is to bring in a guy who's buddies with the offensive coordinator. He hasn't played football in a year and hasn't been good at football in 4 years, but don't worry, guys. It's going to work out. It's all going to come together. And it's just like, what? I don't understand it. And then, if you want to add the drama to it, it's like, we're not. The only thing they stuck principle on was we're not going to trade Tyreek Hill, which then came back, and then everybody was weird about it. And what do you know? 2 games in a row, he's furious, and so I don't know. That to me is the more disappointing thing. Like the roster, I guess, is what the roster is. And Tua maybe, being exposed as being as limited as people feared that he was, has certainly put a spotlight on this. But man, all of the holes that you were worried, has anything gone surprisingly well for the Dolphins right now? Not really. I mean, there's not one guy who's really come out and been like, wow, I didn't think that guy was going to be as good as he was. And that's what's really been, bothersome about it. But it shouldn't be surprising. Chris Greer's bad at his job, but somehow he's gonna survive this. I just have this weird feeling in my stomach. Like he's gonna still be here. I don't know why, but
I know why.
I don't. Well, I know the theories
We
out
all
there.
know why.
Here's the thing. I know all the theories out there that he like knows why the bodies are buried and the Flores lawsuit. I've heard all that. I truly believe he's just not going to get fired because Stephen Ross likes him and he's a good guy and he's survived in the organization for 20 years and he's going to convince him. He's like, look, dude, I'm so believing that he's going to go to Stephen Ross and like, Steve, they're going to go to Panera Bread. They're going to sit down.
You pick 2.
And they're gonna be like, dude, this Mike McDaniel, he was our plan B. We were gonna go Sean Payton all along, baby. You trust me. And Stephen Ross is gonna be like, I guess it, because like, who does he go with? Who does he trust? Like, he's gonna go find somebody from scratch, and somehow this guy's gonna survive this. I'm really convinced of it that this is Mike McDaniel is gonna get all of the fall on this. They'll roll out Anthony Weaver there for the last whatever amount of weeks.
After this Thursday.
Right. And then they'll figure, Chris Greer will get to hire his next coach, who will be some first-timer, probably Joe Brady from the Bills or something like that. And then the cycle of doom will continue.
And they'll get to say they figured it all out over a bread bowl.
Right.
And Greer is, in my opinion, when you're talking about accountability, he doesn't have any. He doesn't get in front of a press conference or a camera and press conference. What he does is say, well, you guys are more worried about it than I am. Well, maybe you should start worrying about it because I get it. We're not GMs, but we're also not morons. And if the world can see it, you have to take a step outside of it and say, what the hell am I going to do to fix this? It's great to skate along and know Stephen Ross loves him and is going to keep him around forever. But what good is forever if you're failing at every turn? What kind of a forever are you going to have? So I'm looking for some accountability. I agree that the hammer's going to drop on McDaniel first. I'm hoping that Ross, because he loves Greer, just moves him into another position and we get somebody in here who's actually going to have some better ideas and doesn't need to go to Panera to discuss it. So I'm just seriously, I'm tired. I'm 55 years old and I've been doing this since I was 2, and I get it. I wasn't as into it when I was 2, but it's been a long time and it's exhausting.
No, it definitely is. It's if they do bring him back, which he doesn't deserve to keep his job after all the holes that he's left. It's just my fear about it that he is. It is disappointing. Like we're sitting here, and I think the thing that was disappointing, particularly about this team, is that it did feel very much like, hey, this was a different type of Dolphins team because it was fun. It was offense first, not something we were particularly, even like anybody of these previous coaches who had a little whisper of good run. It wasn't usually built off of the offensive excitement of the team. You know, the Tannehill teams were as bland as they get. This team did have a lot of sizzle, maybe more sizzle than steak, but the sizzle was fun. And
Oh yeah.
nobody wanted to like believe this wasn't going to work out, but it flamed out. And so, you know, we're sitting here and we're looking for just, all right, can we actually get to real winning? Because I mean, to be the longest standing football team of no playoff wins is just such a great embarrassment. I mean, we're talking longer than the Browns, longer than the Lions. That's crazy for a team that was once the winningest organization. That's such a catastrophe of an ownership. And Stephen Ross has just dressed it all up with, look how great my canopy is. I have races here. I have tennis. And it's like, yeah, dude, that's awesome.
There's a gondola. Woohoo.
You
I lost my parking, but yeah.
You build really nice stuff, except football teams. Like that's
horrible.
Absolutely.
But I want to piggyback on something you said about McDaniel losing the fastball. And, you know, I do a show with my co-host George on Fins Faithful, and we make that baseball analogy a lot. Like, you could lose the fastball, but if you don't have an off speed, a slider, a curveball to mix it up and then get your confidence back to regain that heat, you're Ricky Vaughn sitting on the couch talking to a sports therapist.
Yeah,
I mean, there's nothing that he has done as a brilliant, tactician of offense, not a play caller, a designer of plays. He has not thrown a counterpunch to the league, counterpunching his fun motion and all that 2023 stuff. And that, to me, is a horrible, egregious mistake of a first-time head coach who wasn't even really a coordinator. He was a running game coordinator. So
thank you. It's like when we brought in Philbin and said he was the offensive coordinator for Aaron Rodgers up in Green Bay. The dude didn't call plays. Aaron Rodgers ran that offense. Sorry.
No, look, I think the thing that's probably the most disappointing about it, though, is like to come out of the gate and be good at it. Like, that's the thing that was crazy about it. Like, we're going to see with the Bears, like, hey, they're going to struggle. Ben Johnson's doesn't have the foundation that he does in Detroit. Like Mike McDaniel, it's odd that he comes out of the gate like gangbusters and is calling the number one offense in the league, and the first time he's calling plays. But I do think when you mention like Rick Vaughn and sports psychology, like I do think that he's in his own head. Look, we all hear his press conferences. I have to cut them for the station. It's torture. It's legitimate. It's legitimate torture for me.
You need a raise, man.
Yeah, every time. I dread it, but I feel a guy who's just slipped and lost. And I think if I were to play pop psychologist on it, it's not just the fact that he's lost his mojo as a play caller. I do think that how bad running a team has gone for him. Like, I think when he came in here, this guy was a nurturer of players. Like, I'm going to be the guy who fixes Tua's confidence. This is a broken player. I'm going to lift him up and I'm going to bring him to heights that he hasn't been to. And he did. But then he also kind of fancied himself a star whisperer, and I think a lot of guys took advantage of it. That bit him in the ass where the Tua thing didn't. And now I think he's a little lost. He's like, well, am I a player's coach? Because I'm not a hard ass. So if the players don't vibe with me and they don't respect me, what am I? So I think there's probably like a little bit of him trying to find himself. And I don't think he's got any answers right now. I think that he's I think he's out of it.
No, he's shown he has no adaptability whatsoever. Sorry, Steve. Just
correct.
the ability to make a determination and make a change, and it just feels to me like he has his way, and when that way doesn't work, there's not that's it. It's just I have my way, and I want to see you adapt because the rest of the league has figured you out. So now what are you going to do? And there has been no now what. There's nothing after that.
No, and then like he was asked yesterday about like, hey, what would you say the culture is? And it's just like it was like you just saw like the eyes light up like, oh no, like why would you ask that question? And it's kind of a crazy, like, I know that he can never roundabout get an answer in less than 90 seconds, but this guy was, I mean, he was in the labyrinth of ums and ahs and words. He has no definition. He was just like, they threw a they talk, we do thing, which is, I mean, they really wish that never got out. But, you know, you look at the other teams in town, like the Panthers have it defined how they're player led, their accountability, their toughness. They grind through all of these things. They know what they are. The Heat, even when they suck, and they have been in the play-in for 4 straight years, Pat Riley's going to go up there and he's going to give you his mantra. He has something that he lives by and believes in. And when I heard him be asked that question yesterday, I just was like, yeah, this guy doesn't have an answer. He doesn't know what his culture is anymore. He doesn't have anything because he's just drowning. He's trying to figure it out. He thought he had the answers in like, I'm going to be Mr. Player Guy. I'm going to be more lovable than anybody else, and we're going to be creative, and everyone's going to buy in. But when the people aren't showing up to practice on time and they're, you know, kind of spitting in your face because it hasn't gone the right way because your quarterback's out and you got to play Tim Boyle in games, and they don't believe in you. They don't want to rally the troops around you. And so I just think he's a guy that doesn't have any answers for it right now. And it's getting bad. I mean, like I listened to that press conference after the game and the way that him and Tua were kind of like, you know, snipping about the whole communication thing. I was like, that's not good, dude. Like, these guys were in the foxhole together, and now you can already tell this happens in every classic case. Like the fingers are going to point, and it's usually not at the mirror.
Oh, it's never at the mirror. And I beat this dead horse last year because I saw it then that very rarely does a head coach ever show the ability to change in the middle of being in a tenure. They leave. They might come back and find success a second time around with a totally different team. People are like, oh, why couldn't he do that for Miami? It's because he had no freaking clue. But part of me is like, well, again, seriously, you are a saint for having to listen to his pressers. I stopped listening to him halfway through last year. I won't do it anymore. I can't listen to him talk. But I just wonder, I'm not here to demean the guy, but everybody crowned him before he ever really came to Miami. Did he craft up some really cool stuff? Yeah, he did it with some really fast players, but it was finesse. There was nothing hard-nosed about it. And as soon as the league figured out how to knock us off of our rails, we never got back on him, and we still haven't, and it's been 2 years. So I don't want to demean the guy. I just don't fancy him a genius. He went to an Ivy League school. Cool. That's awesome. It's really cool. But he's not a football genius in my eyes because he hasn't figured out that what he's doing year over year is not working, and he's talked himself out of it, and he knows that he's got to put his house up for sale soon.
Look, I definitely think that he's a guy who knows that he's on borrowed time. There's no doubt about that. And I think that, look, the truth of it was he came in weird circumstances as it is, because normally a first-time head coach does not come in to a team that's ready to win double-digit games right away. It's not typically how it goes. Usually you go to a team that's awful. But the window of the team was 23. Like, that's when it was. And, you know, they all, you know, we're gonna remember that Titans game forever because it really feels like it changed the course of his history. And unfortunately, they went from possibly getting home games to him shivering in the coldest game of all time. And so, you know, it's unfortunate. Like, I do think there are other worlds where Mike McDaniel could do this the right way. But I just don't know if he's got the time. I asked this question coming into the year because, like, they were going into this reset and they were going to play a lot of young guys. And it's like, hey, it's a noble thing. Like, the Rams they kind of did that last year where they were trying to revitalize an old team with Cooper Kupp and Ramsey leaving and Aaron Donald retiring. So But the difference is Sean McVay's got the clout. He's been to 2 Super Bowls. He's won 1. Mike McDaniel, no one's truly going to have the patience to sit around for anymore. Like that's just not going to be reality of it. So I didn't think that this whole idea of like, hey, they were going to go young. It was probably the right choice because they weren't good enough to win anymore. But he doesn't have the cachet where he's going to be able to hold this out unless we're all stunned and on Thursday night, like they land a haymaker on the Bills, which they won't. But like outside of that, what's going to save them? And I don't think that that's the reality right now. And if by some reason they don't, I just don't think this team's good enough. Even if they pulled the surprise of surprises on Thursday, give it time. Like it's it'll bite them in the ass eventually, and this will end how we all probably think it's going to end.
Agreed.
I just keep hoping that Thursday is Buffalo's trap game. We always talk about how we get too confident and we go in and we lose to the teams we should beat. Well, I want Buffalo to lose to a team they should beat on Thursday night just for the sake of beating Buffalo because I'm tired of losing to them. But thank you so much. It's been I'm not saying you're leaving, but it's really been a pleasure listening to you. And I'm so glad you joined the podcast tonight. So thank you.
Oh, happy to do it.
Thanks a lot. That's great. Sammy, you're on mute. I don't know, man. I can see your mouth moving, but nothing's coming out.
There you go.
There you go.
I just put a Steve. Brendan, I really appreciate you. Thank you for joining us. You've been great. Where you can find you on WQAM?
Oh, so yeah, we're on the FM dial now. I should let everybody know that WQAM is on 104.3 FM. So you get us in crystal clear FM radio. We're really getting with the future here. So check that on out. We do stream on YouTube and Twitch. It's 104.3 WQAM. That's the handle on YouTube. On Twitch, it's Miami 104.3 WQAM. We're on live every single day. Joe Rose is on live every single day. Hogman, Crowder, and Solana, they put their clips up. They don't stream live, but you guys catch us there, the Odyssey app, and then you guys can catch the Tobin and Leroy show wherever podcasts are available. Just look us on up.
And of course, on X at Brendan at _Tobin. My brother, I appreciate you. Hopefully, you come back during the season maybe next year, but you'll be great. Well, you gave me goosies, Tobin. You gave me goosies.
I appreciate it, man. You guys, you got the goosies back from me. I appreciate you
Thanks
guys.
a lot, Brendan.
Send out the bat signal, and I'm happy to do it again.
Have a great night. Thank you.
Have a good one.
So it's time now to go around the media, Fins TV horn.
Where Colin was right.
Mike McDaniel 0-2, job in jeopardy, and I think both Chris Greer, the GM, and Mike McDaniel probably need to be replaced. The roster isn't good. The O-line's a perpetual problem. I mean, again, special teams were even bad against the Patriots. The culture's wrecked. The Bills are up next on Thursday Night Football, so presumably they're 0-3. From the very beginning, I questioned if it was all about the sizzle and was I getting any steak, and as of today, I don't think I am.
Where do things stand in Miami right now? Certainly with a lot of people talking today about Tua's comments that Tyreek Hill needs to track his ball when he's throwing it, Albert.
Yeah. Well, let me take you inside the players-only meeting last week. My understanding is that there was a message from the captains to the rest of the team about accountability. And it was about accountability to each other and accountability to yourself. And more or less, it was the NFL is going to judge you regardless of your circumstances, regardless of your coaching. The NFL is going to judge you in a vacuum, and it's on everybody to take personal responsibility. And it's more or less closing ranks and saying this isn't about anybody else but the players. And sometimes that happens at the end for coaches, So I think that message was received by the people by the players in that building. The tough thing I think for McDaniel, and I really like Mike as a coach, and I've known him a long time. I think the tough thing for him is this narrative has been there for the last 4 or 5 months, that. Some of the stars in that building ran wild over the last couple of years, and they spent some time this offseason in their roster building trying to clean all of that up, and that you would have this sort of issue after week one and that sort of no-show in that week one game against the Colts. And now you're 0-2, I think only further fuels the narrative. The other thing that's just lingering out there is the fact that they're in the middle of, a sort of a soft rebuild. Teron Armstead retired. They traded Jalen Ramsey. They've moved now from the phase where they had 2 on the rookie contract into now he's on a big second contract. And so they're going to be gradually relying on more young players over the next couple of years. And when a franchise does that, the natural question for an owner to ask is, are these the people I want leading the rebuild? And so if things don't go well early this year, those questions will naturally come up. So I think all of that is in play. You've got a standalone game. You and I both know how that can affect things against maybe the best team in football on Thursday night in Buffalo. It's a lot, and that's a big spot, I think, coming up this Thursday night for Mike McDaniel. And another thing that's lingering here is the fact that his defensive coordinator, Anthony Weaver, is beloved inside that building and is seen by a lot of people as a future head coach. So if there comes a point where this really goes the wrong way, could Stephen Ross say, I want to take a look at Anthony Weaver as my head coach? I think you'd eventually get there. I don't think it'll be after Thursday night, but I think they could eventually get there.
You see the banner flying over the stadium. It says, fire Mike McDaniel. And I just want to make sure that if you are going to point fingers in South Florida, don't do it at Tua, because what I saw today was a quarterback who was going through his process, and he looked like the guy we've seen have success previously. But in terms of leadership, in terms of organization, top-down respect, leadership, I'm not in the building, but what I can glean from watching this team on film and every Sunday now, they're just not ready to win. And while they have good players on their team, they're not a good team.
Well, we want to thank you again to Brendan Tobin of WQAM. Steve, when I sent you the rundown for the show, originally the name was Signs of Life, just because, the fact that did the Dolphins show Signs of Life, or basically they didn't. But you said, it more like Time of Death. So I changed it for you because you're right. So are the Dolphins with a chance of showing signs of life, or basically a Time of Death?
The doctors are ready with their hand on the wrist, looking for a pulse and about ready to call it. No, to your media montage that you had there, I just want to say that nobody pats themselves on the back better than Colin Cowherd. And he's got this, where Colin was right, where Colin was wrong. Dude, my 2-year-old Havanese, OJ McFluffy, sorry, Shari, our 2-year-old Havanese, OJ McFluffy, knew that this team was going to suck ass this year. Newsflash, you're not brilliant, Colin. So, but look, we've really kicked pretty hard with Tobin there. So it's just really, really frustrating because we knew where we could have been. We feared that the window could be closing. Some people were a lot more pessimistic last year and saying, hey, the window's damn near closed on what could have been. Tobin brought up a really good point. Was it that Tennessee game? If we find a way to win that Tennessee game, what happens? It's like the alternate universe type thing where I go back and I think like that the Buffalo Bills 4-year Super Bowl run in the 90s. If Scott Norwood doesn't kick that wide right and he goes through, do they go on to win 2 more? 3 more? You just don't know what those types of things do to a team.
Your mic went off.
Sorry, thank you. My wrist hit it as I'm sitting here talking. Like I'm. So, no, anyway.
Silence.
More accurate than Tua.
Jason, exactly. Go ahead, Jason.
You're right. And going back to the 2023, this was the glaring problem with Chris Grier. That was your window, and you decide to not run it back by retaining some of the key pieces of that team. You say they have deserved their free agency and not even given them an option of sticking around. 3, that you could really pinpoint that they didn't give an offer to 1, and the one person that they did try early to give an offer to in Christian Wilkins was laughably low, and they were going to be out of that equation the second the agents started to give that monetary figure. So you don't bring back an Andrew Van Ginkel. You give that money to Shaq Barrett. I had the same amount of snaps that he did in 2024. You don't sign a Robert Hunt. The offensive line is a glaring problem. You don't re-sign a Brandon Jones. 2 worst safety play in the league the year after that, pretty much. So Grier has this unbelievable, no, I got it. I'll be fine. And the same thing applies to kind of this year when he makes the mistake on Darren Waller, which, listen, everyone in that building should obviously have known early that this might have been a mistake. So they're bringing in a guy like a Noah Fant and interviewing him, and they don't sign him. They obviously, even if it came to sliding a number under his agent's eyes, it wasn't good enough. And now, ironically, he's in Cincinnati playing with Mike Gesicki, and he's got 5 more catches than our tight end room combined and a touchdown. And he's actually playing good football. So Greer, I feel like if he signed a guy like Fant, would have admitted without admitting, yeah, the Waller was a mistake. But he doesn't want to do that because then it will admit mistake. Same thing where he's telling all of us, all right, the offensive line, you guys are more worried about it than we are. Okay, well, you know what? You go up and you trade for Jonas Avayanaya, which we all loved. Unfortunately, he's the worst ranked offensive lineman in the league right now. So it's not a matter of doing what you need to do to fill the position. It's now the aspect of who you're filling the position with. We all know Liam Eichenberg was traded up for in the second round. And I don't even want to lump those two together. I don't even want to live in that horrible universe. But what they also did with that was took themselves out of the third round and fourth round where a number of defensive backs were taken. And you go into this year with an injury. Listen, you can't foresee an injury to Kader Kohou, but he was going in as your slot guy. And you're relying on undrafted free agents on the outside after you know you're trading Jalen Ramsey. And then you have to make emergency signings with Jack Jones, Raul Douglas, and now it's almost like we're doing the same thing, or Chris Greer's doing the same thing, not necessarily what he does, what he is not doing. And sometimes that's a heck of a lot worse than doing something that may work out, but you don't lose your job, a little movie reference, for doing a bomb. You're only going to get another picture. You usually lose your job of passing continually on hits because you don't have the confidence in that script or director. No one's going to buy what you think because look at all the success people are having without you, and look at all the success that people like Justin Jefferson, Jonathan Taylor, Jeffrey Simmons, Dexter, like all these players that he passes on are phenomenal. And when you get rid of the player in Miami, they tend to do pretty well somewhere else, like a Brandon Jones, like a Robert Hunt, like an Andrew Van Ginkel. So it's getting to be the same old story, and it's a really sad, sad story at this point.
No.
Well,
Go, Sherry. Go.
And one of the things that Greer did not do that he should have done, and you touched on this also, yes, Fant went and he has more receptions than our entire tight end unit. But last year, what did we have that we haven't had in a decade? We had Jonnu Smith, who made our tight end room solid, and there was we couldn't find a way under the sun. Seriously, I'm good with I mean, I know there's dead room and dead money and dead cap, but I'm good with Tyreek never coming back. I don't need to know every time a ball sails over his head by an extra foot, he's going to jump up and down and throw a temper tantrum. And I don't need to wonder, just like I wonder when Tua gets hit, if he's going to get up. I don't need to know when Tyreek's going to rip off his shirt and walk off flipping off the fans. I want that gone. I want that whole entire mentality gone. I mean, I just looked this up while we're talking, and as of mid-September, Jonnu has 9 receptions, 42 yards, which is modest, and a touchdown, but that's still more than we have. I mean, Tua said, that's my guy. Jonnu's my go-to. I want to make sure we bring him back. He knew he was going to be there for him, and he's not. So I just think it's almost like when we see something, a place where there's success, unexpected success, we crap all over it. And then we say, nope, never mind. Bye-bye. Bye-bye, Van Ginkel. Bye-bye, Wilkins. Bye-bye, Jonnu. I mean, not putting him in the same category. But
you're right, though. And to kind of go a little bit further than that, you look at 3 veterans who were really, really fantastic at their position, who clearly didn't want to stick around. Jalen Ramsey, Jonnu Smith, and Calais Campbell. All he did was do a walk-off sack on Sunday against the Panthers, and he ended the game. And everyone's 18-year Yellow Jacket winner back in Arizona. If he really had conviction that this Dolphins team was remotely close and not in a soft rebuild, reset, retool, whatever you want to call it, he would have probably worked it out. And if that domino fell, maybe Jonnu Smith would have been like, you know what? Let's run it back to the Ramsey thing was DOA. That was done. Dead on arrival, pretty much once you got to the offseason. But again, if you have the foresight that that's going to happen, don't take yourself out of rounds that you should be drafting a cornerback. Look,
Correct.
I like Kenneth Grant. We all loved that we got Trench's help. Yeah. But Will Johnson could have been – you could have picked Kenneth Grant and you could have traded up to get Will Johnson in the second half. And he's playing fantastic football despite injury concerns in Arizona as well. So it just goes back to this drunkenness of maintaining a football team that I don't even I just –
You know, as fans, Jason, we want to believe. Seriously, we all hit the hopium pipe, and every single season we get pulled back in. Even the Cleveland Browns fans are just like, hey, this is our year. Newsflash, it's never going to be your year. But seriously, we all we buy into it. Well, exactly. I mean, hell, we're there. We've been there. But everybody has that mentality of just like, hey, Greer, and I just don't understand where the strategy is and how he thinks it's going to work. He sits in these press conferences, like Shari said earlier. He's arrogant. He's talking about the guy thinks he's playing chess against people playing checkers. Dude, you're playing tic-tac-toe and you're losing. He is not playing the right things, and he's not doing it the right way. And the simple fact of the stats been going out for the past couple of weeks. This isn't fresh. What is it? 8, 9, 10 years? No playoff wins. By far the longest.
It's the most in NFL
history. Dude, I don't care. Go take garden leave, get sent out to pasture, get elevated in the organization. I don't care where you go. Ross just really needs to move on. Hopefully Tobin's wrong in that case. Sammy, I don't know when we're going to move on here, but I did want to bring this up, one of these things here. Just real quick, round. What is the biggest weakness? Shari, I'll start with you. What is the biggest weakness in terms of a unit on this Dolphins team right now?
The offensive line. The offensive line and the ability for the offense. So in my okay, it's a tough question because there's so many issues that you're having to narrow it down to one, because we can talk about the fact that, we can't stop the run and all this stuff on defense. And if you're scoring 20 points, you should be winning games. You can talk about all that. But if I can't watch my offense and know that, number one, the line's going to block for a run, the line's going to stop Tua from having to run around, and this isn't on them, but getting plays in, gosh, you're asking me to find a needle in a haystack, and the haystack is full of needles. The weakest unit is going to be the coaching staff.
Ooh, I like that. Going to the sidelines. Jason, what do you got, man? Weakest unit?
I'm almost a little disappointed that Shari said the coaching staff, because I was going to go there. So we're on the same wavelength. No, you're good. But if I'll pick a position group, and I'll say the secondary, and I'm not just saying the cornerbacks or the safeties, the secondary as a whole. Minkah Fitzpatrick back is great, but, it goes back to signing Jags, just another guy in Ashton Davis and Ife Melifonwu, who might be out on Thursday. Ashton Davis, you got to give him credit for battling back from injury. You thought he was going to start on IR. He's one of the lowest rated safeties, as well as Melifonwu. So you're also relying on just mediocre players against wide receivers in a passing league. And that's just the glaring problem. And if this front seven was even close to being as advertised, then maybe I'd be able to mask the secondary issues. But the front seven has got nothing.
What the hell happened there, Jason?
Seriously, don't know, which is
that was supposed to be the strength.
Shari's dead on, because right now the coaching staff is the glaring weakness. Because if you look at this team, are you telling me that if you can get an absolute genius football coach to look at the personnel and understand, all right, I love this kid Achane, but we're getting 2.7 yards per carry when we run him in between the tackles. So you know what? That kid, Ollie Gordon, you're a Doak Walker Award winner. Same guys like Jonathan Taylor, Bijan Robinson. I'm going to give you 8 to 10 carries, and he's probably going to get 4.5 to 4.8 yards per carry. And then there was one play at the end of the game when Gordon and Achane were on the field at the same time.
Boom.
And imagine that. Imagine if you can get some creativity there. And then defensively, where's this unbelievable trio and scheme of Chop, Chubb, and Phillips on the same squad at the same time? not dropping Jalen Phillips back into coverage.
What the hell? More
Jason.
than once.
What is going on?
Yeah.
No, it's not just it's Chubb. I don't understand. Look, I get it. They're outside linebackers. Dude, they are supposed to be the reason why our defensive back pig gets lipstick put on it this year. They are supposed to pressure and destroy the quarterback. They're dropping into coverage, and they're slow at it. They're not built for that. Our middle linebacker looks slow as hell. Jordan Brooks trying to chase down linebacker or the running back for the Patriots. Jesus, number 39 caught the pass.
Ramondre Stevenson.
Yeah, Stevenson. Thank you. I knew it was something. It's my own damn name. He looks slow. Everybody looks so slow, and they're not capitalizing on it. At least in this case, I'll give Brian Flores some credit. When he knew that there were warts on that defense, he just said, "You know what? We're going to go cover zero, and we're going to tear up some teams." And he threw it in there every now and then. He took them by surprise. We're not doing anything taking anybody by surprise. So, Sammy, I want to pass it back to you. I don't know if you want to give us one of your weakest unit or just say yes.
My weakest unit is the front office. From Tom Garfinkel, who basically is looking the other way. Brandon Shore, who has the budget tight. Stephen Ross, who cost us a first-round pick. To Mike Daniel, who's part of the front office, and Chris Greer, my pal Chris Greer, who I've defended in this show every freaking year. They're all guilty. Let's go to the confidence meter.
It's true. All right.
To 1,000 people watching all platforms. We're on 9:53. I think we're gonna get to 1,000 before the show is over. Thank you. Please, if you're there, go to YouTube, give us a like, give us a subscribe.
Thank you, everybody, for joining us.
Thank
I love the chit chat on YouTube, man. It's great.
It's been great. This is gonna be easier than probably everything we do tonight. It's just one question. It's gonna be pretty easy. I'm gonna start with Jason. Jason, on your confidence meter, low, medium, or high, what are the chances of a Dolphin turnaround? Low, medium, or high?
To put it bluntly, it's the lowest it's ever been. So you see where that one is? You're going to have to continue to go south and probably in the middle of the bottom where you can't even see the meter.
So, Shari, low, medium, or high, the chances of a Dolphins turnaround?
Low to 0, 0, 0, 0. There's no way. I mean, and not. You can't say any of us would be unhappy to sit here 10 weeks from now and have won the next 9 games. I mean, obviously, we'll all take it, but there's a 0 chance of that happening. So it's as low as possible.
Absolutely. Well, Steve, what are the chances of a Dolphin turnaround in the confidence meter? Low, medium, or high?
I like being right all the time, Sammy. I'm not right all the time. That'd be Matt Armstrong.
Miss you, Matt.
We miss you, Matt.
Miss you, Matt.
Yeah. But I feel validated in having 0 expectations for this season. I just saw that it wasn't going to work out. I have no confidence. It's low. There's no heart. There might be a little bit of passion from a couple of the players. You see it. I'm thankful that they're around, and hopefully we can keep them for a while. But the passion as a unit is gone, as a team is gone. We're playing for 2026 right now.
This is the most disappointed. I tell you before, I'm mad. I'm not disappointed. I'm sad. I've been everything, but frustrated and mad. I've never been this. Let's go to before we go to talk about the Bills. Let's go to some of the comments. We had a lot of chat in the comments over here. Let me see what's in the comments. Cosa Nostra, thank you, Cosa, for always being so supporting the show. Although maybe for the future.
I don't want any wins.
No
wins.
5% chance.
Whammies. We want whammies.
It would be great if they stop.
Best game show ever, by the way.
This team scares no one. That's not true, Adrian. It scares all of us.
That's so true. Hi, Adrian.
Quarterbacks have hurt this team more than any unit so far. As a unit, probably yes, because the offensive line wasn't as bad as we expected to be on Sunday. Bro sucks. 100.
Sammy, is there an over-under on the number of times we're going to say the word unit on this episode? Because I feel like we have really said unit a lot. I'm sorry, just me.
Is the unit. Let's talk about the let's talk about the next day. Let's talk about the Buffalo Bills.
Ugh.
It's time to pay the bill because uh, they're waiting. If I can feel it in the air on Thursday, they want to put the nail in the coffin. The Dolphins, Mike McDaniel regime and Tua regime. If they give us a stumping, the one maybe I've said it. I truly believe Mike McDaniel will not be fired. I'm one of the few who thinks he's going to stay the whole year, and they're going to make the decision after the season ends. But if they put a stump in the Dolphins like they probably will, they're going to force the issue. And I'm sure Josh Allen with that smile, with pretending he likes to and he has a lot of respect, he's going to do everything it takes to put that nail in the coffin and put that bell on his waist and say he's the one who ended the McDaniel era. What are your thoughts? This game is close to your heart, Steve. So I'm going to start with you. What are your thoughts on the game?
Better not be close to his heart.
Well, he has a lot of family over there.
Location pun. Location pun.
Location. I seriously, Sammy, they could sit. I mean, they're already missing a couple of their top defenders. They won't miss them. Their running game took over. Their running game took over this last game. I think James Cook is proving to be the better Cook brother as a running back professional in the NFL, and that's going to continue. I think we're looking at a very, very, very tough game for us. Who knows? Been wrong before. Could be wrong again. I just don't think so here. I expect us to lose pretty handily. Jason?
How about Jason?
Well, I'll put it into the best picture I can with my movie references. The best Mafia movie to play on the Bills Mafia, and for my money, was Goodfellas. Remember when Joe Pesci walked in thinking that he was going to get crowned and he got capped? Well, the tarp is laid out, everybody, and Bills Mafia is ready to put a bullet through this collective franchise. And sorry to say, it's going to happen, and it's going to happen early, and we're going to be reeling for about an hour and a half after the fact.
Yeah.
That's going to be rough. Shari, what are your thoughts?
So here's another angle to this. If McDaniel has lost the team for real, perhaps they lose the game on purpose. If they think there's a chance that they can get rid of him and put Weaver in the driver's seat for the rest of the year and maybe salvage something out of nothing, it could be beyond ugly because Buffalo's going to beat the crap out of us. In my mind, there's no question. And if we lay down for them, it's just going to become, seriously, if you think that Denver game, our 70 points was something, just wait and see what they'll do to us if our players decide that they just don't feel like showing up.
Absolutely, it's gonna be really rough.
That's
Again,
bold.
They I don't want to even think, but the Dolphins had make us look silly, stupid, wrong so many times. You know what? It would be awesome if this is the way they make you look stupid. They find a way to win this game.
Oh, that'd be great.
I would love it if they please do it.
Yes.
Do the opposite. Jason, like just
Seinfeld.
Do the opposite, and make us look bad. So, let's go to the big finish. Unfortunately, Chris Greer is not on Mars. He's still at Miami Dolphins headquarters. But he's fine. Please like and subscribe. We appreciate you all. We reached the 1,000 viewers mark on all platforms. We really
Thank you, everybody.
it.
Awesome.
Thank you. On the bottom, let me see if I can find over here. In the bottom,
There's a unit.
Yeah. There always is a unit.
Here it is. Our friend Big E is still looking for a donor. The latest news on Big E was that since he's now taking himself with chemotherapy, he's now eligible to get a transplant for a non-living donor. So that's the good news. But keep sharing the microsite. All our friends Lou and Ashley are selling their bracelets to help the Dolphins Cancer Challenge in the name of of Big E. That's a great cause. So please like and subscribe on all platforms. If you're here on X, please go visit our page on YouTube. Please like and subscribe. This helps a lot. Before we go anywhere, Jason, where can I find you on your platforms on USA Today? I wanna put up your stuff.
Appreciate it as always, Sammy and Hallett. Love chatting Fins, regardless of win, lose, or draw. I just love speaking with you folks. You can find me at Jason_Sarney on Twitter and on USA Today's Dolphins Wire.
Absolutely. So,
and Niagara Falls pretty much contemplating things maybe on Thursday night.
I was going to say, at least we have a longer period of time between the game and the podcast for us to at least compose ourselves before we have to get together. So
we had that last year, and I remember the dread of knowing what happened last year and just being like,
yep.
Well, so our friends Lou and Ashley, who were here last week, said on their podcast that if they might have to go streaking to Niagara Falls if the Dolphins not aware, they're going to make a trial out there. So we'll see what happens. That should be interesting. Let's talk about the Pick and League rankings.
Neon nights, the city's alive. Pick 'em dreams under the 305 sky. Touchdown thoughts, I'm feeling the vibe. Every choice could take me high. Who's got the eye? Who's got the streak? Who's calling plays like a champion peak? Week by week, it's more than a game. Glory's waiting, so remember the name. Fins up, lights down. Who's gonna wear the crown? Pick 'em right, don't let it slip. Miami Heat on every pick. Fins TV, it's do or die. We're chasing wins, no alibi.
Oh baby, the Pick and League is hot. We lost the players because the platform didn't work. So over 30 going. At number 10, Steve Hallett. At number 9, Dolph Freak. At number 8, Fins Trooper. At number 7, Frankie Fresco. At number 6, Bobby Finstock. At number 5, Beautiful Day. At number 4, reigning champion Peter Fernandez. At number 3, Jake Mendel. At number 2, Jason Sarney. At number 1, House.
Fins TV, it's do or die. We're chasing wins, no alibi.
Jason, you're almost there. My precious. You're almost
Jason.
there. You're almost reaching number 1, Jason.
I love Houts. I love Bearded, but not in the Pick'em League. I do not like them folks when it comes to this. So the game face is on.
Well, you can see how well I'm doing because when I do this Pick'em League, I do it for the fun and I pick with my heart. I don't care. I want to be able to root for who I root for. I don't want to root to come to the top of the standings. So you guys can laugh at my picks, but I'm aware that what I'm doing is dumb, but it's making it fun for me.
It's not dumb. You're having fun. You're enjoying yourself.
That's the idea. Is to have fun. Yeah. Steve, you're still in the top 10. You were, we're moving roll around.
You put me in number 10. I'm sitting in 7th place right now.
Are you tied?
So your rankings? I'm tied for 7th.
You're tied for 7th, yes, but this is a tiebreaker.
The
platform says that the score of the Monday night is the one who determines the difference between all the places who have the same post. So
because I'm on this show?
No.
That's my tiebreaker.
Nope.
Okay.
Let's
I'm going to show up, Sarney. It's on, man. It's on. I'm done playing games.
Our friend Bearded Fanatic is also making a push, so it's also for Bearded. I'm sure he's watching somewhere. Bearded, you making a push. You're back in the top 5. So, guys, appreciate you all who are playing the Pick and League. It's awesome. Appreciate you all. Thank you all for watching. For more information on the Fins TV crew, please go to finstv.com. Guys, appreciate you. We'll see what happens. It's gonna get rough. This is the model for this year. At least we have each other. So
hunker down, people. Hunker down.
No one's getting traded. We're all sticking to it.
Okay.
Absolutely. Well, there are a couple I would like to be traded, especially in the Dolphins media. But I digress. No matter what, we say Miami. We always took a Super Bowl. Fins up.
Fins up, y'all. Fins up, Adrian. See you there. Take care.
Thanks for watching Fins TV. Please like and subscribe. Fins up.